I was handcuffed on my own driveway, accused of stealing my own Rolls-Royce. The HOA president stood there filming the whole thing for her online followers, screaming that no 22-year-old kid could possibly afford a car like that. The cops double-checked the VIN, realized everything was legit, and uncuffed me, but the damage was done. The only thing stolen that day wasn't my car, it was my peace. Let me rewind. It started on a Tuesday morning, the kind of morning that makes you believe suburban life actually works. My wife Sam was arranging lilies in a vase while sunlight poured through the kitchen windows. Then I found an envelope from the Magnolia Ridge Homeowners Association, heavy cardstock gold seal, the kind of paper that screams we're about to ruin your day. I joked it was another warning about mailbox color or lawn height. But when I opened it, my jaw actually dropped. Legal action. Unauthorized vehicle. Title forfeiture. They were suing me for my own car. The letter signed by one. Karen Glass. HOA president claimed my cobalt blue Rolls-Royce Spectre was an unregistered commercial vehicle and that I was running an illegal chauffeur service. She wanted me to surrender it for impound and inspection. Failure to comply would lead to fines, liens, probably exile from paradise. At first I laughed. Surely it was a mix-up. I'd call, send my title, prove ownership, 5 minutes done. Sam, though, wasn't laughing. She's suing us. For our car. She had that quiet, dangerous tone I'd learned not to underestimate. You don't mess with Sam Reyes, I told myself. But this wasn't about her. Not yet. I called the HOA office. After 20 minutes of robotic menus, a bored voice answered. I explained everything, offered proof IDs, even a DNA sample if that helped. She replied flatly, all disputes must be submitted in writing. Miss Glass handles all legal matters personally. Then she hung up. I Googled the address. It wasn't an office, it was Karen's house. Magnolia Ridge's Queen Bee ran the entire HOA from her living room. The system wasn't broken, it was hers. Over the next few days, letters multiplied like fungus. $5,000 for unapproved driveway surfacing because my tires left marks on my concrete. $10,000 for noise pollution from an electric car. Another $20,000 for operating a business. $35,000 total. It wasn't absurd anymore. It was predatory. My lawyer Jessica called it classic abuse of power. She told me to document everything and avoid direct contact. I tried. I really did. But then Karen sent people. 2 bulky guys in fake compliance uniforms stood at the edge of my lawn for hours, staring at my house like movie henchmen. Just observing, one said when I confronted him. It was intimidation, plain and simple. That's when something inside me cracked. Still, I tried to stay calm. I told myself it would blow over. But then came the cops. I was polishing the car when they showed up, cautious and embarrassed. Sir, we got a call, possible stolen vehicle. I barely had time to respond before cold steel clicked around my wrists. Over their radio came Karen's voice from across the street, shrieking, "That's him! He stole it!" She live-streamed my humiliation while her followers cheered. Minutes later, the VIN cleared. "Sorry for the hassle, Mr. Reyes," the officer said, unlocking the cuffs. Across the street, Karen's grin melted. The electric car that roared too loud sat there humming quietly. She'd made a fool of herself, but she wasn't done. "This isn't over," she hissed. That night I stared at the ceiling, unable to sleep. Sam whispered, "Maybe we should just move." And for a moment I wanted to agree. Maybe I was the problem. Maybe flaunting a car like that had invited all this. But then I saw the fear in her eyes, the way she glanced at the window like someone might be watching. That was the moment it stopped being about the car. "I'm done playing defense," I told her. Karen declared war. She doesn't know who she's fighting. See, I wasn't just some spoiled kid with a luxury toy. I built a tech company from the ground up. I understood systems, how to protect them, how to break them. And Karen's HOA, it was a system begging to be dismantled. I called Rick, my old partner, hacker genius chaos, wrapped in caffeine. "You in?" I asked. Say, when he said, within hours my house turned into a command center. We launched drones legally over my own property that caught glimpses of Karen's home 2 streets over. Every night, same scene, a sedan pulled into her driveway at 2 a.m., idled 15 minutes, then left. Using digital magic, Rick traced the plate to a shell company registered to Martin Glass, Karen's brother, a disgraced real estate developer. We dug into the HOA's digital files. Password, Magnolia123. I wish I were kidding. Inside was a gold mine of fraud, fake invoices, non-existent vendors, bank transfers to Martin's shell companies. Karen wasn't a control freak. She was an embezzler. $500,000 siphoned from the community she protected. But why target me? Why the car? We found out 3 nights later, buried in static from my directional mics. A fragment of a phone call between Karen and Martin. "He's stubborn," Karen hissed. "Then push harder," Martin said. "We need that lot. Without it, the EV spa deal falls apart." It hit me like a punch. The EV spa, an electric car luxury center. My lot had the zoning and view they needed. Every fine, every accusation, every humiliation. It was all to drive me out so she could buy my property cheap and hand it to her brother. The gloves came off. The annual HOA meeting was 1 week away. Karen's favorite event, her little royal ceremony. I decided that would be her execution live. Rick built the payload, every document, every photo, every recording packed into a slick presentation, auto-synced to live stream the moment I hit play. Derek, my conspiracy theorist neighbor, the guy Karen once fined for auditory blight because of his wind chimes, helped rally the community. "You'll want to be there," he whispered to everyone he met. Word spread like wildfire. The night before the meeting, Karen made one last move. Her 2 fake compliance officers banged on my door, yelling about unauthorized lighting temperature. I didn't even open it. I just turned on the sprinklers. A high-pressure jet drenched them head to toe. They slipped, cursed, and ran. I almost laughed. The tide was turning. The next day, the community center overflowed. Karen sat at the front in a red blazer, basking in attention she didn't understand had shifted. When she opened the floor for community concerns, I raised my hand. "Actually, I have a presentation," I said, holding up a flash drive, "about the HOA's finances." Her smile tightened. "That's not on the agenda." "Let's amend the agenda," Derek called out. Others joined in. "Yeah, let him speak." Karen hesitated, cornered by her own crowd. "Fine," she spat. 5 minutes. I plugged in the drive. The first slide appeared my noise pollution fine, followed by a silent video of the Rolls-Royce gliding down the street. Birds chirped. The room chuckled. Then came the invoices, each linked to fake companies, each tracing to Martin Glass. The murmurs grew into outrage. Phones came out. People filmed. Then I played the drone footage, the same sedan pulling into Karen's driveway night after night. Finally, the audio recording filled the hall, her voice unmistakable. "He's not rolling over like the others." And Martin's cold reply, "We need that lot." Gasps, shouting, chaos. Karen's face drained of color. Her security guys slipped quietly out the back. For the first time, the neighborhood saw the truth, and they were furious. Just as I thought it was over, my smartwatch buzzed. A message from Rick. "Dude, one more file. You need to see this. Now." I opened it, a scanned report dated 3 weeks in the future. A geotechnical soil analysis claiming my property was unsafe due to an underground spring recommending demolition, signed by a city commissioner. Thompson. The same Thompson who appeared in Martin's corporate records as a silent partner. Karen hadn't just been corrupt, she'd had help from the city. They were forging official documents to condemn my house. I looked up. Karen's expression shifted, panic fading into that smug smirk I'd seen too many times. She thought she still had protection. I projected the file onto the screen. "This," I said, voice steady, "is what was coming next. A forged government report to destroy my home signed by Commissioner Thompson, who just happens to own part of the EV spa project." The room fell silent. Then someone shouted, "Call the news." Another yelled, "Call the DA." Within seconds, phones were out. Voices rising, the crowd exploding into motion. The HOA board scrambled for the exits. Karen bolted, shoving chairs, knocking over water cups. She made it outside, spotted a golf cart by the tennis court, jumped in, and gunned it across the lawn. Tires tore through the grass she'd once policed like a dictator. But at the exit, 2 police cruisers blocked her path sent by the DA's office. She tried to swerve. The cart slammed into a cruiser with a dull thud. Officers calmly walked over and cuffed her right there under the gray sky, surrounded by the people she'd terrorized. I stood in the doorway watching the scene unfold, the Queen of Magnolia Ridge dethroned in the most poetic way possible. Her red blazer soaked with mud, her empire collapsing in real time. The neighbors erupted into applause cheers that sounded like years of fear being exorcised. And just like that, it was over. Karen Glass, the self-appointed ruler of a perfect little suburb, finally faced the one thing she couldn't control: the truth. Because in the end, that's what always wins.